So now we are going to start painting our anemone petals, and I picked 3 tones of purple around. Well, you can even try a 4th one. So remember the anemone at the beginning, it has white, and you will use a little bit of cheesecloth, and then it has kind of like a darker color. We will cut a little bit of cheesecloth. You can use cotton or anything to kind of make these lines a little bit more subtle. So the anemone usually has these lines that go, well, if it's white, it's perfectly white. You know, we also have the white anemone, but now I'm going to use the dark one to kind of go and make these little lines. And we're just going to follow these lines. Make sure they turn into a really nice. Now these are soft pastels. You can use Crayola. Actually, here we don't want this too much. We want it as white as possible, this area. And these little right here in the middle. See how it looks? White, another color, and some lines. So we're going to do the other side. We're going to do, use a cheesecloth to get this thing off. We're going to do white. It can also be a clear lilac. Then we're going to do this little color. Kind of like that. We're going to difuminate that. And we're going to make these little marks in the center here. And these marks, these are going to look so pretty. They're going to be so beautiful. So we're going to do the same thing on the other next one. Then we're going to put this little color here. I think we need a little bit more white. And then we're going to difuminate it before we put our purple lines. They're like little veins that those anemones have or something. A little bit more white. And there's your anemone color. Now we're going to do the same here. With our white pastel, we'll do this. Have some blue here. I really need another matte very, very soon. And then we're going to do this color. Like a little fan, and we're just difuminate it before we put our lines. a little fan. There's your anemone. So you got it both sides. Now we're going to do this one. We're going to disunite this. And then we're going to do our little vein line. And disunite. More here than here. That half pretty on the other side. And we're going to. Now you can do it with any colors you like, right? I mean, the basic is the anemone does have like a wider at the base where the black foam's gonna go. But they are so different. Wrong color. One. You got 3. Go on number 4. Many anemones only have the large petal. In this case, we're doing some that have the 5 inside, and the in our case, and then we're just going to these lines. I think I have too much here, but I put a little bit more white. So in case you do something you don't like, you just grab a whitey, a little bit of soap, and you clean the foam up. Don't worry. It's very, very important that you don't stress out if you make mistakes. Fix this up. So we got 4, and then 5. So there's 3 tones: the white, the lighter color, and then the darker. Or you can just leave it without any color. Just, it doesn't have to be shadow. It's just a very, very personal, whatever you like the best. So we're going to do the same thing, these 5 little ones. We're going to do white. And we're going to do this little thing. Then we're going to blend. It's a little bit too straight, so I'm just going to do this. Because I want to have little markings of that color to the outside. And then we do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 4 is fine. See how pretty that looks. And then do the same thing over here. I like that same stick I did right now. And then we do 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's smaller, so it has 4. I mean, you can do as many as you like, whichever ones. You see? So we got here. Now we're going to do the second. We're going to color. Oops. Just need to have this line to the outside. Don't want it to be perfectly marked, And then these little dark veins. Just make sure we got some edges to the outside. And then we make our lines. you get this, the black in here, it'll be gorgeous. So now, the part about the white one is that you don't have all this painting to do. I do put some lacquer, I do put some lacquer gloss paint on the white usually when I do whites, like for weddings and stuff like that, because it gives it a little extra, so I'm going to do that twice. So there we go. Three, we got two more to go. Over here, so we're going to do our white, center, and then we're going to illuminate it. And then we're just going to mark 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the back part. One more to go. Color. Remember, it doesn't have to be the exact colors I have. It's just the technique that you want to do that. You want, obviously, the white, but you want like 2 tones, right? Similar to your base, which is obviously lilac. And there you go. Now we have our 5 small petals. See? And your 5 large petals. So we're good to go. Now to paint these, there are many ways to paint all of these, your little strips. We're going to put white in the center. Now I'm just going to show you. So if you are going to, I usually spray paint them, and I just put them like this, and I put a strip of cardboard and just spray paint over it. Okay. So, but we're going to do it for the sake of if you're only making one. So you can use craft paint, and I'm just going to put white. So this is actually acrylic markers. They work super well. So you just want to go over this. It doesn't have to be fully white. You just want that feel that the anemones have. And you're gonna do this, it can be yellowish, it can be whitish. It just has to be a whiter tone than the one we have. So spray painting, whichever way. So I'm just gonna do this, and you're gonna do this on both sides. I mean, you don't have to, if you're on a big project and you have to do 20 of them, I suggest you just keep one side, okay? So don't, and you could also use a, you know, like a pencil over all of it. Not a pencil, but what I mean is those brushes, and you just go slowly through all of it like that. So just letting you know, this is painted white. Okay, so this video is for pro painters. In the case you've got a big bill, like 10, 20 flowers or several. I usually use 2 different colors, a darker and a lighter one than our foam to shade it. In this case, I'm going to use a 3rd one, which is a white. So just so you can get an idea, I'm going to go really fast. So first I'm going to do the light one right at the edge. I don't know if you can see right there. And then I'm going to continue. I'm going to use the light one on the top edge. You can do the other way around, right? So I'm going to use probably, I'm still thinking, like I will use probably the light one on the top edge, and then a little bit dark in the middle over the white. So here we go. There is no wrong or right in this. And then we're going to do this experiment. It's going to be fun. Try to make sure you stay over it. And there you go. And we will see how it looks. I want to put a little bit white, a little bit more out, because you're going to have the bud in the middle. So it's not going to show too much the white, but here we go. So now we have them finished on both sides, dark light, and the white. So just so you can see, and that looks, it's gonna look amazing. So we are now setting our painting booth up, and you're just gonna cover with whatever cardboard or paper your, you know, like your buds, because you don't want to paint those. And we are just gonna spray some white right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to shadow the white, kind of like that. Right there too. I think that doesn't have much more paint. You don't want to paint that. We're going to do the same here. And the same, oops, right here. And then we're going to do it from both sides. And I'm going to cover this one side. And you just flip them around. And you do all your colors. I'm going to definitely take right here. There you go. Just like that. Very easy. And then you finish on both sides. So we now have finished cutting all our anemone leaves with our templates, and I picked these 3 colors. So we're gonna do, and these are pastels. You will see in different videos I color with different things. So I'm just gonna color yellow the center part. It is going to be a beautiful, so that's all we're going to do on both sides. I want it a little bit and you can use a little bit of green on the sides, but I don't know, it all depends. However you can grab a cheesecloth and, you know, give it that's kind of how I'm doing it, so you can see. So we're going to do the other side. Because this thermoforming is very, very, very specific and very unique when we start on that. So I'm going to give it a little bit of green at the edges, just so it can kind of blend in with the yellow. I'm going to see how this one looks. It's okay, I guess. So we've got one, so you can see. And that's it. We got one. And we're gonna do this one here too. Oh no, it was yellow. I'm gonna use the green on the outer edges, just so it blends a little bit more. Now you can use darker greens or lighter ones. It's still gonna look beautiful. Honestly, it's very, very personal, whichever you like best. I sometimes like very dramatic flowers and sometimes very, very soft ones. Oh, we got both sides too. just because. We're gonna blend it with this color. I want a little bit more yellow here now. Oh, other side. So we're gonna do this. We got 3. This side, the same. 4. And almost got this one. One more side, and then we work 6 leaves. We got 6. So it's the same thing here. Let's do this. And we put this one side, we have to do side. Oh, this one must be hard to do it to the stem. So it's going to be pretty easy. So here we go, and we have now finished painting all of our anemone leaves. So we will now pass on to thermoforming. So we are now in the thermoforming process. So we have our heat gun and our hair styler. I'm going to start with our hair styler. So we're going to start by the center part, warming the center part. And we're just going to pull a little bit with our fingers, just like that. And you're going to give it, I don't know if you can see, a little shape here, sideways. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other, towards the other side. And we're going to do the second one. And then we're going to do the third area from the center. So you got something like this. So it's, now we're going to ruffle the edges. So basically the edges, you just stretch it out like this and they get rough. You just kind of go like that and do 1, 2, you stretch it like in a little ruffles like that. And there you go, you have it. So I'm going to stretch it out because you don't want it too curved like that. The anemone is a little bit open. So I'm going to just stretch this a little bit more so it can look a little bit more stretch. So it's got a certain curvature, but it goes like that. So it's 3, and then the edges all, this one needs a little bit more ruffling. You know, you want the ruffle at the edges too. So, and there you go. You have, this is like your little, we're gonna glue it, but that's in the next part, okay? So we're gonna go shape, thermoform, petal 2, right in the middle. And we're gonna just press like that. And let's stretch it out. And then we're gonna do on the other side. We're gonna warm it, and we're going to make that same little stretched out line. And then we're gonna do the third side. And we're gonna do stretched out line. So you get your petal, I don't know if you can see 1, the bending here, and now we're going to ruffle the edges. And we're going to ruffle them. So there's your petal, perfectly shaped. I want to stretch this out a little bit so it doesn't curve that much and it's a little bit more open. So we're going to do number 3. And we're going to do the same thing. So I have my at 450 degrees, but it doesn't have to be any particular degree in heat. So you want to do the 3rd side. It's kind of hot, so you got the 3 little, you see here and here, here. And now we're just going to thermoform the edges. And here we're going to open it up a little bit more. Okay, because when we close it, we're going to close it on the bottom. So we're going to do our line here. Really nice. And then the 3rd one. So you press it with your hand and make a curvature. The 3rd one. And now we're going to ruffle the edges. And here we go. So we've got one more to go. Right through the center. And then we hit this one side. And then the other side. Ooh, that was hot. Make sure you don't get your foam too hot. I do have some those gloves. When it gets too hot, like when you're using the big 3mm foam, I usually wear the glove because it does get kind of hot in your fingers. It does get kind of, you know, ooh. So you got your 5. Now we're going to do the same here, but we're going to try to leave it not to curve up so much. So that means we're going to do this and stretch it open. You know, you don't want it to go like that. You want it to stay kind of just very open. And back here, we can actually do it towards the back. You can see it's like opening to the back. So you want to send this to the back. Because you will have your big bud right here, so you want the bud to be noticeable. And we still have to close this and glue it. Okay, so you have something like that. Now we're going to go to that part. So we get the central part, we get that little curvature. Then on the side, so you get something like that. And then this part, we're going to try to send it to the back. You know, so when you stretch it, you send it to the back. 2, and then 3. Now we're going to form the edges, stretch it to the back. Do those little ruffles, but towards the back. Then you've got 4. So you've got this towards the back. And you just stretch it. You need to stretch it, don't stretch too hard. And then we got the 5th one and the last one. To the back. This one went too big, so I got to open it a little bit more so it won't be that open. There you go. Okay, so you've got your 10. So we are now ready to start thermoforming our anemone leaves. And this is very unique thermoforming procedure because we're going to make first a little pinch right in a big line right here. We're going to make a little, because that's where we're going to hide the wire. And then we're gonna follow a line to every little part of the leaves. Right there. And we do another one right here. So this is a little bit labory. Now you don't have to do one by one, right? You can leave some little edges behind it, but might as well. So here you go to this little edge right here, and you pinch it. And we go to this little edge right here, and you pinch it. And then we're going to go a straight line all the way to the very end. That is very important we do because that helps it keep its form. You know, if you keep its form like that. And then we just do this one little edge right here. One more here to look pretty. One here would look pretty too. So you stretch it out so it looks like pointy. And there's your thermoforming. And this is your anemone leaf. Now we're gonna do second one. Long. The great thing about foam is that if you do it wrong, you heat it again and it loses its form, and you have like several chances. And then you actually can twist it to the side if you want to. Depends on the look you want it to have. We got this right here, and now we're going to do this side here. Make this little strip here too, and then we're going to grab this little one here. You can actually turn it to the inside, make it your own little style. So I'm going to do this one too. You've got leaf number 2. These will be assembled in 3s, and they're going to look just so beautiful. The anemone leaf is very unique, to be quite honest. I always try to research all the flowers and variations and how many petals and pistils they really have. And there's some that are very different. You know, they're the same family, but it depends on the area they're from. Or the classic one we always know, but there's always all these new flower types. They're just so unique. Follow this one. Okay, yeah. I'll just make sure these 3 line together right here. So make sure these are right there. Awesome. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There you go, number 4. We're already halfway done. Here we go. So you have your pinching process. And maybe you want to do that much, just for sake of so easy. So there before. And we're going to go for leaf number 5, and we're going to finish the center. And we're going to do first the 3 long ones, you know, so always get the 3 long ones first. Right here. And do this one too. This one too. And just for 6 here too. There you have it. Good bead. And now we're on to the last one. Now we're not going to do these because those right there will form over the flower. When you're done, it's basically kind of like what you seal it off with to close it to the PVC pipe. So we're going to leave that at the end. So we're going to forming our leaves. Get all the edges on these little things done. Finish towards the side part. And there we are, and we have thermoform all our leaves. These are going to be our anemone leaves, and we're going to pass on to the next step. So we are going to heat up all our little strips and just let them wait until they curve a little bit. And you can see they curved. Look at that, how cute. So you can see, so we're gonna do that with all our strips, whichever here or heat gun. And then we're going to finish all of these. And we're going to continue to glue them around our bud. So I think we're done, and then we're just going to continue this gluing all around. Make sure that when you're right here, your next little petal is over the previous two. And if not, you just stretch a little bit, just a little stretch. That's the wonders of EVA foam, that it's just so stretchy. And it can be, you know, use it as sculpture. This one I'm going to stretch it a little bit more so it can go over here. So we're going to continue this all the way down, and put your little strip should go around your little ball right here. So now we go to the next step and we continue our way all around, and every time it'll be a little bit lower. So we're going to do this right here. I'm going to stretch it also. How cute is that? Now we're just going to take all these little hairs away, and I want you to tell you several things that can happen. You have too much left over. You can see white. Don't worry about it. You went a little bit crooked, like I went a little bit crooked. You know, it's got here on the side, and I make flowers all day long, every day. So don't worry about that either. And if you made them two together and they're a little bit, don't worry either. This is what the people see. Just a little pine cone. Look at that. It's gorgeous. So that's all they're gonna see. From there, we're gonna wrap the pistils around. Right there, and we go. Right between the previous ones. We stretch to make sure it's aligned, and we keep on going. And we're just gonna wrap our little cone, and that's about it. Then this cone, you will glue it to your flower, and it is going to look amazing, amazing. Look at that. I'm gonna stretch it. So you see, every time it looks a little bit going down. Like if you go into the internet and you check a poppy bud, I'm sorry, an anemone bud, you will see that these little things start kind of opening up. They're really tight against the bud, and then they start opening up. So we try to keep our flowers as true to nature as possible. Let's see, look at that. And then just kind of, and we keep on going. So now we've got 3 more to go. Or 4, I don't even know. Another black one. A purple. And right here. So that's basically it, guys. You're just gonna go around, and once you are finished, hopefully you guys share your flowers and put them in the group. We're now retaking all the membership since these parts start coming out. You see them sideways, how they start opening up? So I'm going to stretch it there, right there. Maybe there's too many strips, but I like it really full, so as full as we can for it to look really luscious. And if you have some left over, I mean, you can put them on some other flowers. Just get some more foam and look at that. So right now we got 2 more black and 1 more purple. So I'm going to use a purple now, and then, man, I'm almost at the edge. So I'm just going to use this little purple right here. And there we go. Try to always keep the same amount. So if you're at purple and you close in here, and we're just gonna have, we close it in here. Now in the case like me, if you see it sideways, you can see there's a little kind of inclined to one side. I'm going to do one more little turn with a purple. So it's perfectly like flat coming out. Because you don't want this to go all the way up, because you need to make sure that it glues to your base, right? It would still glue anyway if you just paste on the sides, but you know, the more the better. So right there we have that. And I'm just going to close it. So this is where the previous purple ends. I don't know if you can see right there. And I'm going to cut it right there. And look at that. Look at this gorgeousness. So you are done with your bud. This is your new bud. So we now have all our pieces ready. We're going to take this little structure that has been a game changer for me, because this part will go inside the bendable pipe, perfectly snug. You don't need it to be very long, so it is amazing. You just open it up, and it's kind of gonna hug your little plate, which gives it a little very good structure. So you're gonna do something like that, okay? And then your plate, you are going to cut. It's just a little support that your flower gets. You know, you don't need a lot because you want it to open up. You don't want your flower to go like that. So basically, we're gonna cut it right at the edge. You know, maybe just a little bit like that, and you want to open it up. You just want a very slight bend. And I always do this to the plate, so the edges are kind of pushing the petals out. You want your petals real open. So if you can see that, that's how you're supposed to end up. And then before I put the petals, I mean, you can do it one way or the other. I just like it to be more structured. It could be after you place the petals, but you know, in my case, we're gonna do it here. We're just gonna glue it to our plate. And we're gonna wait. It's kind of like all the artificial flowers. So I'm gonna put in, oh, this glue gun. And you're going to bend the little edges, and you're gonna keep that little very slight bowl. I'm gonna put more silicone. I swear I buy so many glue guns. Try to keep it as center as possible over your plate. Okay. And there we go. So once we have our little structure, we are going to start with our outer petals. I usually kind of calculate like a star, you know, like a star, so you can calculate. So this is a 5-petal flower. So let's say you got to start one here, one goes here, one goes here, one goes here, and one goes here. So you're going to make just the big petal. You're going to make a little right there. Let's start on the top one. So I'm just gonna put one single line of glue. Actually, I can use this glue also. I'm gonna push it. And depends how big you want it, you know, because if you push it out a little bit more, kind of like that, you see? So you got one there. Just make one line before you start gluing one over the other, okay? So you're gonna have do that. And then I'm gonna do one line here. Right there. I'm gonna put it as straight as possible. Because if need be, if you're like too wrapped one over the other, you want to open it up a little bit more. Right here, I'm going to make another little line. Before I do the full-blown gluing, you know, you gotta, you see right here, there's too much space. So you're just going to have to twist this a little bit over. So once we have it, and then we've got one right here. And we're going to put it right there. And if you can see, this one is too overlapped, this one. So we're gonna make sure that we don't have that. This one, we're gonna twist it this way a little bit. And then this one right in the middle, the last one. So you can see there, you've got your little star. So now we're gonna see it this way. And you see right here, there's more space here to here. So you wanna, that's why we only do one little line first until you get it centered the way you want to. This one is a little bit too overlapped, so we just move it a little bit this way, a little bit this way, and this one over this one. See? And now that you have like your full, just a tiny bit, tiny bit on each side, then you put more glue. So first it's just a line to hold it in place. So now I'm gonna put glue in here. And I'm gonna push it up. And this gives a lot of structure. Make sure at least the center, I'm gonna show you my finger, is pushing this to the bottom of this plate. And then we're gonna go to the next one. And we're gonna put some glue here. And we're gonna push this petal up. And then we're going to do the same thing with our other petals. You see from the top. And we're going to do that right over here as well. Right over here. At the end, we will glue the sides so you don't have any flapping. So you'll see what I mean. So it's pretty cool. So now we're going to do the inside petals. Make sure, so we have our bud, right? So it's gonna use a lot of the space. You won't be able to see much. So what I mean is you can put it as outward as you need, like right here. Right in the middle. I don't know if you can see it, right in the middle of the bottom too. So I'm just gonna do one line first, like always. We just do one line. And I'm gonna glue it right there. Then, remember, you never glue on top of the petals. You only glue as close to the core, and this is your core. This plate, and this is your core. So I'm gonna do that, and then that. So we go to the next one, and we're going to glue right this line. Now we don't want that to be seen right there, you know, So you know that's going to be covered. And then you're going to push these to the back with glue them to the back petal. So the back petal will be pushed up and the front one will be pushed back. Then I'm going to put the third. And that's how it will be pushed. So you have my hands here because we will glue this part. And we are going to do this part right here. I'm going to push this one a little bit over here, and we're going to put this one right there. So we do that right here. So they're all set in place. And once we have that, then we're going to detail all these little things, push it back. But I do want to see how it looks with the bud in the middle. Look at that. Oh my God. But you don't want this, so you need to open these to the back. So I'm going to push this one and I'm going to glue, I don't know if you can see, I'm going to glue here, here with this. So it takes that form. Okay? So with this, I will use my other glue, which is a little bit better for me. And we will continue. So now we glued the parts. Look at that. It's just gorgeous. Let me see if I can make it further away. And then if you don't want, like, I don't mind the plate. I don't know if you can see it sideways. I mean, right there maybe. But if you just want to feel a little bit better, what you can do with your leftover pistils is just that we do in several buds, just to make sure our structures are covered. We kind of glue them to the structure, okay? But you do not want to have these too much out compared to this, although it would look nice. You know, it doesn't really matter if it has that, but I personally don't like it, but it's really up to you. So we are gonna check how much could this go up? Right, I would say right there. So basically, you can wrap this around your little plate right there. I'm gonna do it for, I mean, I don't really need to do it, but let's be extra. Let's see, make sure it doesn't go out too much, right? So I'm gonna do a little circle around here and just glue that. Make sure, you know, there's no way the plate can be seen. Now, you can also put the petals inside it, and you know, it doesn't have to be so big because this one is definitely over 20 inches. There's some flowers that if you stretch out the petals of how you fix them, they'll be bigger, right? So, and you have this going like kind of like that. Just try to follow the same, you know, the same length that you're using here, here, here. So it doesn't look a little bit off place. But if you want to use the strip for something else, which is what I'm going to do in my case, because I have so many of these strips, just for covering your plate in case you're worried about that. So there you go. So I'm just going to, now is the real deal. I'm going to put glue here, and I'm going to put this on the edges, like right all over. And there we go. It is gluing, guys. We are gluing it, and it is an amazing anemone. Look at that. Now we still have to insert the sepal on the leaves, which will give it strength here in the back. Once you put the sepal, it's going to give it strength to hold it stronger, and this will just go perfectly snug inside your pipe. And look at that. Look at that. Just gorgeous.